Hola, me llamo Kiara Vazquez, soy de parte de la comunidad de St. Leonard. Déjame les platico la historia de mi vida. So I was raised by a single dad. My mom walked out on me when I was 6 months old. She was never really part of my life, but I knew of her and I knew of my siblings. Obviously, growing up, I always had questions about her, but the love that my dad had for me, it was enough for me that I didn't really think about taking the time to go and look for her. So obviously, growing up with a single dad could be a little hard, since, dads don't know a lot about girls. So that's when my aunt came along. My aunt has been taking care of me ever since my mom walked out. She actually left from Monterrey to come here to help my dad. And if that doesn't really say enough about her, I don't know what does. She left her whole life for me, and I felt like God sent her to help me, become a better woman like she is. And I hope I could be, a woman like her. My relationship with God has always been great. Even though, obviously, I grew up without my mom, I didn't really question him. I loved him so much because the love that I saw my dad give to God was so amazing that I wanted to give that love to him. But my dad suffered a first heart attack back in 2012, when that shattered my whole life. I started questioning him, but God gave him a second chance to live, and that gave me hope. That gave me hope that God not only, loves me so much, but loves my dad, and he knows that he has been a great role model to not only me, but to my siblings. Although my siblings are not related to my dad, he still took after them, even though my mom walked out. My relationship with my dad has always been so great that I never thought my life would be it without him, But sadly, my dad passed away 2 years ago. And I felt like that was, I'm so sorry, guys. That has been the hardest thing I've ever experienced. I think about him every day. I think about him all the time, where he would come after work and me dejaba algo en mi cama porque lo miraba y se recordaba de mí. So those little moments, I see it within people that I have now, thanks to Iskali. Iskali came into my life in 2021 in October. I got invited by a good friend. And I never really thought that I was going to even come to the initiation retreat, because in that point, I was just so mad at God, because, I felt like I wasn't being loved by him in that moment. Even though throughout my whole life, he was so good to me, it was just that he knew how important my dad was to me. So after I lived my initiation retreat, I obviously started going into Nuestra Señora del Monte, and I, created great friendships that actually helped me starting to help me heal from my process of grieving. And although grieving comes in waves, I feel like Iskali had helped me acknowledge that. Before I wasn't able to talk about my dad, but now that I'm standing here and I almost cried, but I didn't have a breakdown. That shows a lot that my dad is right next to me, that he wants me to talk about him as much as I love talking about him, because if you guys would have met him, he was an amazing man. And that shows that, although there was a moment where I didn't believe in God, he never left me. He never left my family, because my family has been so close ever than ever. And yeah, so thank you so much, and love you all.